he has talking about Enugu Air for a long time. Since he came into the office, he has been so much interested in having an airline. And people are asking, what's the rationale behind an airline? You promise us water that will come the first 180 days. That is 6 months. The water is still not there.
Yes.
And then what are we going to do with an airline? Say we'll get 4 aircraft from the 41.1 billion projected for the transport sector. So people think, what do we do with this money? How is it going to benefit the Enugu people?
This is the Stereosis.
The Enugu state government has actually released its 2025 budget, which is actually aimed at continuing the good work that Mbah has been doing. He really said that when he was coming in during his campaign, he had stated it clearly that he was coming for a disruptive governance. And then I believe that we are actually seeing a change from what it used to be in Enugu State. 971 billion naira is the budget of Enugu State for 2025.
It's one of the biggest in the whole Southeast, and I think it's among the first 5 in Nigeria. And he said he's termed the exponential growth, Enugu exponential growth.
Yes.
And this is quite ambitious. And he said it during his campaign that he's not coming for linear growth, he's going for exponential growth.
Yes.
So you can see moving from, I think last year was below 500 billion.
Yes.
And then
this year, that of this year is almost like 2 times or thereabout
of the last year. So,
yes.
And you can see something less than 30 million away from 1 trillion. So,
it's actually worth it, given the enormity of the project that Mbah has actually, given to the people of Enugu State. He's given a rebirth to some of the previously abandoned projects in Enugu State. That goes a long way to, throw more light on what they say in government. That government is meant to be a continuum. Because if you check what has been happening in Enugu State, it's always project after project. And then when this government or regime comes, he abandons the subsequent ones and then starts building new one. But this, the attitude of Mbah seems to be very holistic.
Yeah, and like you said, a lot of abandoned projects that have been there for more than 20 years. Yeah, I think the one of ICC, Enugu International Convention Center, will be commissioned.
It was inherited from Chimaroke in Namani.
And it will be commissioned around December this year. I think they said 3rd week of December it will be commissioned.
We also look, if you look at even the Sunrise, if you look at the Sunrise flour mill, which was built around 1980, and then
functioned for only 2 years.
Just 2 years. From 83, the flour mill went out, and then Mbah has given a new lease of life to that. Yes.
We don't know when that one will come. I don't think. I think I saw them signing something like 2 months ago. Enugu took 40-something% of it.
Yes.
And then those guys. Now, there are a lot of good part of this budget, and there are also some places that people have a lot of concern
and reservations.
Enugu Air has been trending, and a lot of things, a lot of discussions about this budget. So, say the capital expenditure is taking 86%, and then recurring expenditure is taking 14%. This is a good development because previously recurring expenditure takes more than 50% of the budget.
Yeah, of course, and you discover if given the I'm surprised it's happening anyways, but the volume of the budget is also quite large. Because most recently he increased the minimum wage of Enugu from what it used to be was more of a mega sum to about 85,000 naira though.
So the recurrent expenditure is around 133.1 billion.
Yes.
And I think it's an improvement from what we used to see before, because Enugu state budget previously somewhere around 150 billion.
Yes, of course.
And imagine but then because of the salary adjustment and everything, the recurrent expenditure wasn't this much.
Yeah.
It was less than this, but because I think it pays teachers now it's 5,000 minimum wage and increase some of their salaries.
I think if you look at this budget, Chukuma, it goes to tell you something. Because, during his campaign, when he promised to build, is it 30,000 kilometers of road?
10,000.
10,000 kilometer road and all those. And people were beginning to ask questions I'm sure even you remember saying that was
Where do we get,
yeah,
where do
it wasn't a possibility, but everything is coming into full glare. Everyone is there for everyone to see. And then if you look at the IGR of Enugu State, actually, as at 2023, it was about 37.4 billion. And then this year, it was projected to be 144.7 billion, which represents about 286% increase from what it used to be. And that means what Enugu people should actually look out to is a rapacious developmental inquest into Enugu State.
And people are actually concerned about the funding, because it's one thing to say this is how much you want to spend, but how do you get the money?
Now,
even during his campaign, I think he was once interviewed on Arise, and he made this exponential growth statement also.
Yes, of
people were like, say he wants to move Enugu State to like number 3 largest economy in Nigeria. And then he called a figure $30 billion
economy. Yes, of course. If you look at the way he's going about it, you know that this is a man on a mission. I'm not here to praise him anyways, but I think everybody is happy, apart from probably the tax, the enormity of the tax people paid this time around.
That's what people are concerned. Why are you going to get 791?
Yeah, he had to. Now, of course, you have to. For you to function as a government, sometimes you don't have to depend on loan. Okay. Going about loans. Of course, loans are essential if they are properly utilized. And of course, the last one he took, we are seeing the result of the loan he had taken. So I won't be surprised if he takes a little bit of loan plus national allocation that will come to run this government. But there are some developmental indices, which if you look at his project, you see that he's actually touching them. And these are things that will blow Enugu up. Open up Enugu for further development. The road from Enugu down to Nsukka will blow up that region. All the rural, in fact, all the smart schools he's building, even in the villages, there is no smart school that he builds without connecting them with a major road, and it is something that is worth being praised. Anyways, I don't know what happened with the previous government. They just blew up an entire 8 years, and then people were applauding for him.
Now, there are a lot of concerns with this, because in the transport sector, he said he has talking about Enugu Air for a long time. Since he came into the office, he has been so much interested in having an airline. And people are asking, what's the rationale behind an airline? You promise us water that will come the first 180 days, that is 6 months, the water is still not there.
Yes.
And then what are we going to do with an airline? Say we'll get 4 aircraft from the 41.1 billion projected for the transport sector. So people think, what do we do with this money? How is it going to benefit the Enugu people?
The truth is, the first benefit I see in this is employment. All right, employment is number 1. 2, revenue generation.
No, even though revenue generation, because
aircraft are
very expensive, and it has it's a low margin business.
Now,
I don't see how we are going to
if you look at the model, if you understand Peter Mbah very well,
okay,
he has a model he's operating.
Okay.
Now, if he buys those airline and then is named the Enugu Air, he can still concession that airline not being operated directly by the government institutions.
He said he will concession the airport, as he has said.
Now,
and then try to do the cargo sector.
There must be a modality
now
for the operation of that airline.
Okay, even if the airline works perfectly, I think the governor just injected some cash into it, some billions into it to keep it afloat.
Mm-hmm.
This airline business operates with it's a very low margin business.
Okay.
If you're not very good with efficiency and operation, all those kind of things, with high cost of petrol, now how are you going to make money from this? This is a sector where people operate with like net profit of less than 10%.
Now, have you looked at the prices at which people fly those planes from, just say marginally, from Lagos to Abuja?
Okay, from
that used to be 18,000.
Now, we know that from basic economics that when the price increases now,
Yeah, there is a marginal increase
there may also decrease in people patronizing the business.
Yes, of course.
Now, from the data we saw, from 2017 up to around 2020, there were like this kind of appreciation in number of people who use airlines like fly.
Yes.
Then from that 2020 upward, the thing exploded.
And there was a decline.
There was a decline from 2023 till now. 2023 we had about how many? I think close to 15, 16 million people. But now the thing declined so seriously for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah.
Because things are hard. So if you are getting into a good business, there is no problem. But you are getting into a very business that is very, very competitive. Is there another way we can use this money? Now, if you think how many Enugu EDGs also fly?
That is the question. And then there are suggestions or opinions that rather than an aircraft, that they should have looked for a way to build trams.
Oh, I don't really know how that will function here. Because
light rail.
Because it's very expensive.
That is it.
It's very, very expensive because most people think the one they built in the Kaduna to Abuja rail, that thing, I think it was close to like $8 million per kilometer. Although some people argue
$8 million
per. So, but some people
argue, that is a standard gauge.
Yes.
This one is a light rail.
Yes, light rails are within $4.5 to $5 million. And anyway, I've seen some other reports who say that this thing that in the whole of the West, the whole of the African country, our own is highest in terms of
the cost.
Okay. Like the Lagos own now is quite above budget. Someone who said the 100 billion, that is the light rail, but they have the blue and the red rail also. I think they commissioned one of them or both of them, 100 billion above the budget. I know that governor would have looked at all these things, and knowing that we don't have this kind of money, let's say $5 million on average per like a kilometer. Okay. To go around Enugu properly. We are not seeing connecting. Okay, we can say Enugu has two major like one city and one town like Nsukka and this one. Yeah. From here to Nsukka, the road is constructing is around 40 kilometers.
40, I think 43 kilometers.
Okay, 43 kilometers.
Yes.
So let's do 40 times 5. That's around 200 million. Where is he going to get the money from?
Dollars.
$200 million.
Which is impossible because, sometimes it's easier for a lot of people to come online and then critique. Yeah. Without actually making their proper research.
And the 200 million is just from here to Nsukka.
Yes.
Like if you must connect the 333
to Agbani.
Go to Agbani and then maybe from Nsukka
go
down
to Udi
and then come back to Enugu. Yeah. That is properly so that somebody can just move around. And you should be talking about this in times 3. We're going to get the money.
Of course. Even the federal government is becoming difficult for them to
finish up
the one they've actually put in motion.
Yeah.
Then how much more is state? Anyways, except what he was talking about is cable wire.
The one they fly.
Yeah.
Those are people that fear no going to people. Only young boys will try cable wires.
Yes,
cable wires
absolutely.
will also not be.
It's not so easy to maintain.
And be cheap.
So if Peter Mbah, I believe with the motor parks actually that he's building, and once it's completed, he should be able to use some of this money and then bring some of those CNG vehicles from Innoson.
Yeah, I think that we should be looking towards next year.
Yes.
There's actually no CNG fuel station in the whole of Southeast. So that's going to be a problem. Or no, he's into oil and gas, so he will sort out.
Yeah, they can actually find a way
now, and another good thing about this thing is, for the first time, 32% of this budget goes to education.
Yes.
That has been a very serious point of debate everywhere. 320 billion, 320.6 billion goes to education. And he's building a smart school pay every ward.
That is across the 260 wards that we have in Enugu State.
The 17 local government. So now, people are not really buying into these smart schools. And I even saw somebody who's into education, Alex Onya, he posted something online. I was like, see, I came back, went around Enugu, and I saw a lot of schools that are in bad shape.
Springing up. Okay.
Yes. And some other ones who were renovated, and he asked who did it, says Ikeja, so that is the former Superb chairman. Now, a lot of people have the opinion that what's the smart about these schools? Is it that you add electronic board and all these ones? At the end of the day, they will add extra costs.
Listen, let me explain it to you. Now, if you look at the primary goal of Peter Mbah, and one of the reasons why he's building the new Enugu, his aim is to turn Enugu into an ICT hub.
Yes, and in this project, it was captured that to prepare for the knowledge economy.
The smart school. The aim of the smart school is to be able to prepare those in towns and those in the hinterland or in the rural area for a life with ICT. Now, the idea is to get them abreast with using some modern tools. I'm sure there are people in some villages across the 260 wards who has never used some sophisticated gadget. Now, if you look at some of those completed schools already, you see the board, you go to the labs, you see a lot of equipment, do you understand, for electronic repairs and coding and all those things. I also heard that they will be introducing robotics. I don't know, in partnership with one institution like that. But if these things are well drafted and well planned, then his aim of turning Enugu into an ICT hub will be achievable.
Okay, let's just take a step back to like 10 years or thereabouts. Sullivan did this kind of thing. But Sullivan was then, I know a lot of things Sullivan did. Sullivan actually upgraded some of the schools.
Yes.
With Zynox, they provided the computers and every other thing. Now, the thing had a problem then. And it's also still my concern with this one. When Sullivan equipped the whole computer, I can remember that the one in my ward had a very mighty dish connecting internet and all this kind of thing created by the state government.
Yes.
But what is the problem? Manpower.
Well, see, when you look at
because at a stage,
see, Chukuma, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Most recently, or just recently, he organized a training program for some of the teachers that will be handling activities in the smart schools. Now, it's a continuum. It's not something that it starts and then ends now. All right? Listen carefully. Now, the moment these schools kicks off, there will be a continual training and retraining of those staff.
Okay.
To meet the needs of what an ICT inclined society should be.
No, it's always good theoretically, because they are putting the cart before the horse. What I'm saying is that this is what I studied in school, and most of the schools, the best schools in Nigeria in technology, will have, like, let me just be very modest. You have 200 students in computer science.
Yes.
Let me just be very modest about that. Look, out of these 200, you graduate out of these 200 and 30 will barely be programming efficiently. Telling you, 30 of them will barely program efficiently. So how are you going to get all these guys? Maybe you end up bringing people. Sullivan actually got all those guys in school. A lot of them were not really computer. It's a quite different thing. Like, if this guy begins robotic and all those kind of things, most people who are even good, most of these good guys will not want to go and teach. You end up drafting these guys who don't know.
I believe. See, there is every good teacher has a price, and then if you're able to pay some of the experts, it doesn't matter for me if the schools at the smart schools are to work, then you have to spread your tentacles. All right, you must spread your tentacles. Don't limit yourself to getting your workforce from Enugu State. If you do that, you will fail. And now, there must be a provision for housing too, for some of those teachers, especially if you are getting them from outside Enugu State. Of course, I've seen one of them with a housing facility. This is the way to go. If you get those experts and you're able to pay, at an average, you should be able to pay them, let's say, 300, 400,000 for an expert.
For an expert.
Someone who knows the onion, his onion.
The school must have
at least if you have at least one expert in all those smart schools, then the probability or the possibility of getting to your goal is possible.
At least one or two.
Yes, that means you must get like 260 experts to work across the whole smart schools.
So at least those ones to be able to operate, because
yes, from there, that particular expert will be able to train others. Then give a space of 2, 3, 4, 5 years. If the next governor who is coming in place is also as visionary as he is, then he will continue. Then you will discover over time that you can be laying some off, because some will have better opportunities, they will leave. Especially if someone is into maybe cyber security, all those branches of ICT that are very lucrative, over time they will have better offer, and then they leave. But prior to the time they are leaving, some other people are taking over. That is succession plan.
I think if it's done the way you are saying it, it will succeed. But if they don't get guys who know what they are doing, because during Sullivan's time, I remember my dad was the principal that time, and whenever I return, the guy that they actually brought in to take care of those computers, just very theoretical. So even to set up the computer becomes a problem. When the students get into the lab to learn computing, it turns into another. Nigeria, where they are not teaching them the practical.
That is bored. That is the problem. That is an average problem of most the academic sector in Nigeria. We are very theoretical in approach. But if you look at like GTC, that is a technical school too, it's also being converted into a different kind of smart school on its own. Yeah. Now, if you take the achievement of GTC, which used to be a very practical, they had every sector, carpentry, masonry, engineering. It was more of a technical school. Now, if we replicate what was existent in GTC across all the smart schools that you see that they are building anyways, my brother, there is no reason I just succeed.
No, I just wish those things are done. And the idea of a smart school is what I don't really understand what they mean by a smart school. Because by default, every school now should have computer.
It's not about he's talking about smart school, it's not about the equipment.
It's about what?
It's about the teaching methods.
Teaching methods.
I'm coming. Yes, the teaching method.
Okay.
And then accessibility to, if you are teaching a child that this is how to insert a chip in all those motherboard, and then the person is looking at it and is saying it. And then let me tell you, the private sector in the educational system in Enugu are at risk. Now, if those people don't sabotage the whole process, which I know they will try to, because if those smart schools are working efficiently the way it's being envisioned, nobody will take his child to any private school.
Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it works out, because I have guys who run all these companies and they face serious challenge of manpower shortage, especially guys who know what they do.
Yeah.
I know someone who runs a kind of educational system like that, and the biggest problem they're having is manpower.
Yes, of course. If you bring money, the truth is, Chukuma, the issue of manpower in Nigeria is not lack of manpower. It's a lack of adequate compensation system.
Yeah, because see, the job you are doing, look, now, it's not like you're working for a tech company or you're working for, let me say, a fintech company, working for like a tech company. You guys can be 10, generating like maybe 10 million every month. If they pay people without 30% of that money, it's nothing to them. Unlike when you're in the educational sector, the money, it depends on the money.
Yeah, the money. No, that is
the money you guys are generating may not be that much.
No, you won't even generate, because most of those schools are likely to be free.
Okay.
Now, the thing is, this is the government directly investing in their future.
Okay, I think
this is government directly investing in the future.
Yeah, there is if they can pay.
Yes, there is no way. There is no way.
Like, I have people who resign from very good guys who are into graphics and all those things. Who resign from Enugu State Ministry of Education. Young boys who are supposed to be the guys to take care of those.
That is.
If you get into most of the schools now, you find out they're just female. Like almost. Those guys, you hardly see guys.
The guys are leaving because a bulk of expectation, especially a married man, the bulk of expectation is on the guy. And then he's being paid mega sum. And I believe that was one of the reasons Peter Mbah had to.
I think he just did new recruitment.
Yes, adjust the payment structure.
No, once they are paid very well, they will be around. Once they are paid very well,
currently, I think from the new policy now, the least civil servant should not collect anything less than 85,000
which is
per
also,
month,
which is also a good
which is
starting
good
point.
one.
Yes.
So
and that thing is, some people are complaining that why with the ambitious budget like this, people are saying, oh, gratuity pensions. I know about that because my dad retired for close to like 6-7 years now. No gratuity. There are a lot of our aunties who retired for more than 10 years. No, some of them are not even receiving. They are still receiving pension of like 5 years. So
I
and
believe
people are complaining bitterly about that. They say, with all these things they are saying, some people are saying, oh, I saw Nedo and the posting that he knows people are saying old salary. I know maybe he's referring to pensions because I know very well some people have old pension.
I believe Chukuma, when you talk about the pension, those are pensions in arrears. It was an inherited one, anyways. But
some other states have cleared.
yes,
Lagos is not owing any person against Ogun State.
Now, if you look at Lagos, you just mentioned Lagos, and then you mentioned Ogun State. Those people earn 2 times more revenue than Enugu State. That being said, let me also tell you that over time it will take a lot of determination on the part of government to actually clear. Payment of debt, especially when you are not the one who owns that debt, is always very painful anyways, because what it does is it disrupts your plan. All right. But I believe from the way Peter Mbah is going, I can assure you that that those debts will be taken care of adequately.
Okay. Let's see how it works out. And next year is very close. In less than 2 months, we'll be here in 2025, and let's see what happens.
No, I'm sure that with the exponential growth, governance or disruptive growth, which I try to call it, I call it myself, is very disruptive in nature.
How is he going to fund this thing?
The man who made this budget, he already has a plan of the funding.
How is he going to fund it?
Okay, let's say for instance, he already has 144.7 billion.
Okay.
For expenditures, and then he can just that is from the IGR. Anyway.
Then we'll talk about
you talk about you add it to the federal allocation, which Enugu will generate. It will have this marginally.
Then let's take it like. But I saw this thing. I think it's within fluctuating within like maybe 7.5 billion or thereabout, because by May they got like 8 billion.
7.5 billion. Okay.
Let's say even 8 billion like on average.
If this is investing this budget, you see, if you look at it, a great chunk of what is contained in this budget is a futuristic budget. Now the major thing is, if you borrow to pay salary, I tell you, the national allocation and the IGR will be able to take care of salaries. Even with now, the IGR, you can pay salaries. Now, if you borrow, Chukuma, to build for the future, it is perfect, just like P2B will always say. But if you borrow to consume, it is a useless borrowing.
That means this budget, 60% to be borrowed.
Borrowing is very much allowed, to the best of my own knowledge, so long as the money so borrowed is channeled appropriately. My challenge is not the borrowing. All right. Now, my challenge is when you borrow and you mismanage it. All right. Now, if you look at Peter Mbah and his kind of person, he's a business inclined person. He's principled. He's not someone who you just go to pay homage for, and then he just throws money around everywhere, because he has a lot of things to do with money. All right. You look at the project. You talk about the Enugu International Hospital that is building. You talk about the International Conference Center that is right now is about 95% complete. And then you talk about the 5-star hotel that is building within that International Conference Center area. It's something that requires a lot of money, and it's a good income generator. And then you look at the parks that he's building too. All right, these things are very sound and solid project that is able. It will change the look of Enugu. 2, it will be a good income generator for Enugu State. I'm very certain that once this project is finished, Enugu State will laugh. Okay, I also forget the presidential hotel. All right, that was long abandoned. I think immediately after the government of Chimaroke, Sullivan sold that hotel multiplicity of time, and then Buruburu came, and then everywhere the whole hotel was vandalized. All right. Now, if you look at what this man is doing, and then is in his quest to also open up Enugu State, he's awarding a lot of roads, rural roads. That is the first time in the history of Enugu State that enormity of road will be awarded within the first 4 years. This is not within the first 2 years of a regime. The quantum of work being done is is so large. And then I believe that at the end of this regime, either be it 4 years or in 8 years, Enugu State will be the cynosure of everyone in the Southeast.